No, it's pretty much good.
Yeah, it's mostly annual contracts that we redo.
Yeah, yes.
So all in favor of the items 1 through 6, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion
You
carries.
see, we don't need Garrett.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
But you need at least 2 of you.
Yes,
Hey, you need a quorum.
yes.
Talking about quorum, somebody better show up here pretty soon.
I'm in. Robin.
All right, I see you.
Hey,
I
Rob.
see you now. I don't see Tracy.
Tracy is joining right
Roger.
now.
Well, I hope nobody mailed her.
There she is.
Tracy, we've been waiting on you, girl.
I haven't got my packet yet. When did you mail it, Amy?
I swear I mailed them. I mailed them last week.
Well, they got another week to go yet. I just got my information on my Florida board meeting for the 11th of January today, just in the 23rd of December. I'm glad they didn't need me.
Crazy.
Do you think it'll get better? Do you think now it's going to get better, the post office?
No.
That's what I was saying.
It better get better. This was no fun.
I feel sorry for the people that are getting their meds through the mail.
Oh,
Yeah.
Or checks.
It won't be long. You'll see Amazon delivering the mail to all your major locations.
I hope not.
Shoot.
That'd be a disaster.
They're doing groceries already and medicine.
I have to say, Gwen, when you mailed the boys the popcorn, my sons the popcorn, they got it within a week. So
Good. I'm glad. There was like a sweet spot like the first week or 2 of December. And if you shipped it then, it like literally packages traveled all around the country, especially if it went through Akron or Cleveland, like forget it. It was awful. People were so angry.
Especially Cleveland.
Yeah. Cleveland and Akron both were really jammed up. Everything, it was really weird. Even like the hubs where you would normally expect to see packages go, everything got all mixed up. I hope they sort it out. I like the post office.
Sorted out. That's kind of funny.
Ah,
We mail bills from New York and they get here in 3 days. If we mail them from Kent, they take 10 days.
I liked when they used
We had-
to sort at our local post office. You know?
Cleveland, that's Cleveland. They go to Cleveland first.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of shut down the Akron hub a little bit. That's a problem.
Mm.
Yep. Gwen, my son said when he got his second shipment of popcorn, are you trying to keep Popped open all by yourself?
I appreciate the business.
I don't know, Jack. We did a lot of damage in there for Christmas.
Did you? We did. Claudia got gift certificates, so we mailed them out. So Gwen, it may be a while. So
That's fine. I'll be here.
All right, guys, it's 7:30. I'm going to call to order our January 20th, 2021 regular council meeting. And this is the eve of a historic day. The 46th president was sworn in. I hope some of you got to see that. We're looking for good things. Amy, will you call the roll?
Mr. Amorang,
here.
Mr. De Leon,
Did you get me here?
okay, gotcha. Mr. Ferrara? Mr. Ferrara is absent this evening.
Mr. Ferrer has to be excused.
Oh, so moved.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Thank you.
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Kuhar,
I'm here.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Here.
Ms. Schaefer-Bish,
Here.
Mr. Sidoti,
Here.
Mr. Turner,
Here.
and Ms. Wallach.
here.
Mr. DeLeon, you have opening remarks.
I wasn't going to say anything, but I said what a difference 2 weeks makes from January 6th to today. I watched some of this stuff on TV today, and I think we're going in the right direction. So with that, would you please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And
and
to
to the republic for which it stands, one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty
and justice
justice
for all.
for all.
For all.
All right, I'd like to move the regular council meeting of December 16th, 2020, the special city council meeting on December 30th, 2020, and the public hearing minutes from January 6th, 2021.
Second.
Second.
Second by Roger. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Aye.
And one abstention. All right, thank you. Under communications, Amy, do we have any public communications?
There's no public signed in this evening.
Okay. Written communications?
Yes, the civil service meeting agenda for December 21st, 2020 was received on December 18th. The special meeting notification for the Planning Commission for January 26th was received on January 7th, 2021. The Board of Health minutes and statistical report for January 12th, 2021 was received on January 11th, 2021. The Standing Rock Cemetery Board meeting minutes for December 10th and the agenda for January 14th was received on January 11th, 2021. And then we received some communications after the agenda was published. We were notified the January civil service meeting was canceled. And we received that notification on January 15th. The next regular meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, February 16th at 5:30. Received the Parks and Recreation Board packet for January 21st on January 15th, 2021. And received the Planning Commission agenda staff report for January 26th, 2021 on January 19th.
Okay, thank you. City manager report, Jack.
Yeah, I'd like to move items 1 through 12 on the city manager's report.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Gwen. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you. Is there further, Mr. Roller?
No, thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you. All right, going into standing committees, committee of the whole. We need to vote on an application for the sustainability position. We have 2 positions open. Is there a motion to appoint?
I would like to make a motion. I
Go
would
ahead,
like,
Heidi.
I would like to move to appoint Rick Hoxley and Mary Jane Stone to the 2 open positions on the Sustainability Commission. Am I able to do that jointly?
You just did it.
Okay.
Is there a
Second.
second? Second by Roger. Is there any discussion on this matter?
Yeah.
If not- Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say, I think they're both very capable people. We know Rick has been on council before. He has served admirably, and he definitely has a strong interest and knowledge about sustainability. And I also know Mary Jane Stone. I actually ran into her. She's very excited to potentially serve on this committee. And I think that it's going to help bring some enthusiasm back to the Sustainability Commission.
Okay, any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying, Mike, you got your hand up?
Sherry? Do we have to approve minutes for the meeting minutes from
Yeah, we
January
probably
6th?
should have. Well, the minutes are this,
Okay,
so
all right, I just wanted,
is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
aye.
Opposed, same sign. Now I need a motion to authorize the names into the legislation. Is there a motion for that?
So moved.
Second.
John seconded it. Is there any discussion on this? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Would the clerk read draft number 2021-01, the first one of the year?
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah,
before I do that, can we get a motion for the minutes?
I'll move the minutes from January 6th, 2021.
Second.
second by Gwen. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Opposed, one abstention. That was my fault. All right, now I need a motion to, let's go back to it, to authorize the names into the legislation. Roger, what are you doing on my screen?
Move to authorize.
Second.
Second by Gwen. All right. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2021-01? Let's do that again. Roger, you messed my screen up. All I see is you now.
No, how can that be, Mr. Mayor? Well, actually, you're lucky. I
That
mean,
would scare me.
You're lucky.
that was too easy,
Go
wasn't
on
it?
gallery view.
I gotta see y'all. I don't know who's talking now.
If you, at the very top of your screen, if you hover over the right corner, can you see something that says view?
Says what?
View?
No.
Just speaker view.
Are you using an iPad, Mr. Mayor? Or
I'm using my computer in the office.
okay, there should be somewhere that it says view on that top bar there somewhere, like Amy said,
Yeah. It's in the black area.
or it'll be a block of dots. You hit a block of dots, and it'll
Oh.
give you the.
There it is.
Oh,
Glad somebody
yay.
said dots.
Way to go, Roger.
You know, hey, I'm not just a pretty face. Come on.
All right, now that I totally lost track. Back to
Okay.
the need a motion for suspension.
Nope, I got to read the draft first.
All right.
Draft number 2021-001, a resolution appointing Rick Hoxley and Mary Jane Stone to the Sustainability Commission and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second.
Please call the roll for suspension.
Mr. Amorine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara. Oh, no, Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
and Ms. Wallach.
Yes.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Heidi. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Robin, you're lit up. Do you have something to say?
No, I don't know.
Please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
and Ms. Wallach.
Yes.
Okay, resolution 2021-001 has passed.
Okay, that's it for committee of the whole. Community development, Mr. Kuhar.
Well, I would like you to approve the minutes for the committee meeting of January 6th and one action.
Put those, please.
Okay, I would like you to approve the minutes of the committee meeting of January 6th.
Second.
Second by Mike. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Abstain.
And I would,
Opposed. Okay, go ahead.
Abstain.
and I would move the one action.
Second.
Second by Mike. Any discussion on the action? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed. Okay, that passes.
And that be it.
Draft.
Draft number 2021-002, an ordinance authorizing the city manager or his designee to execute an enterprise zone agreement with the Davy Tree Expert Company providing for a project and real property tax exemption pursuant to the Ohio Enterprise Zone Program and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Gwen. Please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
Yes.
and Mr. Amrine.
Yes.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second. Any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Hearing none, please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
Yes.
and Mr. Amrine.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2021-002 has passed.
Okay, thank you. That's it for community development, land use.
That's it.
Heidi, that's you.
Oh, I was looking at who
Hey,
the,
John, did you have something to say?
No, I said that's it.
Oh, all right. Okay, now,
I'll open Land Use Committee, and I would like to move the meeting minutes of January 6th, 2021.
Second.
is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same
Abstain.
sign, and one abstention.
And I would like to move the action recommended.
Second.
Second by Gwen. Is there any discussion on the action? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes. With the clerk read draft number 2021-03 entitled. Oh,
Draft number 2021-003, an ordinance authorizing the city manager or his designee to accept a street right-of-way dedication at 1625 South Water Street, Dunkin' Donuts, and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Gwen. Please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
Yes.
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
and Mr. De Leon.
Yes.
Move adoption.
Oh, second.
Second by Mike. Is there any discussion on adopting this? Please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
Yes.
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
and Mr. De Leon.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2021-003 has passed.
Okay, thank you. That's it for land use. There's no business under streets and sidewalks. There's no business under health and safety. Finance Committee, Mr. DeLeon.
Yes, I'd like to move the committee meeting minutes of January 6th, 2021.
Second.
Second.
Second by Gwen. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed,
Abstain.
same sign, and one abstention. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I'd like to move the three actions recommended.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Gwen. Is there any discussion on the actions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2021-04 in title only?
Draft number 2021-004, an ordinance amending ordinance 2020-39 to extend imposing a temporary moratorium on the applicability of section 1191.13 of chapter 1191 titled Capital Improvement Fund Matching Amount as it pertains to the city's obligation to match developer fees paid into the Parks and Recreation Department Fund for 6 months and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Roger. Please call the roll for suspension.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish,
Yeah.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
yes,
Ms. Wallach,
Yes.
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
and Mr. Kuhar.
Yes.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second.
Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Seeing none, please call the roll for adoption.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
yes,
Ms. Wallach,
Yes.
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
and Mr. Kuhar.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2021-004 is passed.
Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2021-05 in title only?
Draft number 2021-05, an ordinance authorizing the city manager or his designee to accept grant funding in the amount of $5,287.71 for reimbursement for the purchase of ballistic vests and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Gwen. Please call the roll on suspension.
Ms. Schaefer Bish,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
yes,
Ms. Wallach,
Yes.
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon. Oh, is he frozen?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Kuhar
Yes.
and Ms. Rosenberg.
Yes.
Need a motion for adoption.
Motion for adoption.
Second.
Moved. It's very elegant, articulate.
All right.
Well,
Second.
Mike froze.
Any question on adopting this ordinance? Please call the roll for adoption.
Ms. Schaefer Bish,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
yes,
Ms. Wallach,
Yes.
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
and Ms. Rosenberg.
Yes.
Alrighty, ordinance 2021-005 has passed.
Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2021-6 in title only?
Draft number 2021-006, a resolution declaring the necessity and intent of the city of Kent to appropriate a temporary easement in 0.1054 acres and a sanitary sewer easement in 0.0229 acres of certain real property from Joseph Nutzel for the purpose of completing the Southwest Sanitary Pump Station project and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Okay, second by Roger. Please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
yes,
Ms. Wallach,
Yes.
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish.
Yes.
Okay, suspension has passed.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Gwen. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Seeing none, please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
yes,
Ms. Wallach,
Yes.
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon, Mr. De
Aye.
Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
and Ms. Schaefer Bish.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2021-006 has passed.
Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2021-007 in title only?
Draft number 2021-007, a resolution declaring the necessity and intent of the city of Kent to appropriate a temporary easement in 0.1546 acres and a sanitary sewer easement in 0.0229 acres of certain real property from Stephen J. Smith for the purpose of completing the Southwest Sanitary Pump Station project and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Gwen. Please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
Yes.
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish,
Yes.
and Mr. Sidoti.
Yes.
Okay, suspension
Move
is passed.
adoption. Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Gwen. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Seeing none, please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
Yes.
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish,
Yes.
and Mr. Sidoti.
Yes.
Okay, resolution 2021-007 has passed.
Would the clerk read draft number 2021-008 in title only?
Draft number 2021-008, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2020-126 passed on December 16th, 2020, the position allocation and general compensation plan, and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Gwen. Please call the roll on suspension.
Ms. Wallach,
Yes.
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
and Mr. Turner.
Yes.
Okay, suspension is passed.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Gwen. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Seeing none, please call the roll for adoption.
Ms. Wallach,
Yes.
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
and Mr. Turner.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2021-008 is passed.
Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2021-009 in title only?
Draft number 2021-009, an ordinance accepting 4 donations to the City of Kent Parks and Recreation Department and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Mike. Please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach.
Yes.
Okay, suspension is passed.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Heidi. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Seeing none, please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. Amrine,
Yes.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish,
Yes.
and Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
and Ms. Wallach.
Yes.
Move
Okay,
it on.
ordinance 20,
Oops, I'm sorry.
that's okay, that was adoption. 2021-009 has passed.
Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2021-010 in title only?
Draft number 2020-010, an ordinance authorizing the Kent Fire Department to apply for the fiscal year 2020 AFG grant through FEMA and to accept any grant if awarded with corresponding appropriation of funds, which provides funding for the replacement of the fire department's self-contained breathing apparatus and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second. Okay. Please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
Yes.
and Mr. Amrine.
Yes.
Move adoption.
Suspension is passed.
Second.
Second. Any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Seeing none, please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. De Leon,
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar,
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish,
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Wallach,
Yes.
and Mr. Amrine.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2021-010 is passed.
Okay, that concludes Finance Committee. Is there any unfinished business we need to discuss? New business, anything we need to discuss? Oh, Tracy, I'm sorry.
Tracy.
Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a business in my ward that just added a new piece of equipment to their, whatever, stable. And it's making low frequency noises. And I'd like to put in the appropriate committee reviewing low frequency noises, because we have to set up some parameters for them, because they're different decibel tolerance. Low frequency noises, they can cause like headaches and sleeplessness and irritability and lack of concentration and things like that. And so we've got to get some sort of parameters on them, because they can't fall into the same group that regular noise falls in with the decibel rating and things like that, because it's a lot different. And they go through low frequency noises, go through windows and houses, so it's harder to shut them out. So I would just like to put that into the appropriate committee to have a discussion to set some parameters for low frequency noises.
So that's your motion.
Yeah.
Is there a second to Tracy's motion?
Second.
Second by Heidi. Tracy, do you have further discussion?
No, that's about it. I've been walking around this place, and it's really, well, everybody knows what it feels like when one of those cars drives by with the bass really up high. That's what it feels like. But because the decibel is within, the parameters for regular noise, nothing can be done about it, even though it's very kind of detrimental to you physically.
All right, Heidi, do you have something? You second the motion?
I just want to say there's just different kinds of noise, of pollutions, and noise is one of them, and I think it's worthy of our investigation.
Any other discussion? Mr. Kuhar?
Yeah, I don't think I'll support the motion, basically because if that apparatus is in the industrial zone, I think they're exempt from the noise ordinance laws. So
Well, that's something that can be brought up when we talk about it, I guess. Is there any other discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
aye.
All right, one against. All right, is there any further new business? Council comments, anything? Heidi?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that today is a historic day, and I'm wearing my pearls.
Uh-huh.
Honor of Kamala Harris's swearing in as the first woman in the executive office of the United States of America as the vice president. And she's also the first person of color in that office, I have to say. I just want to say I just feel very proud of our nation for the transition of power and for this historic time.
Okay, is there anybody else has comment? Councilman comments? Anybody? Mr.
Yeah,
Sidoti? Let's let Robin. Go ahead, Robin.
Go ahead, Robin.
okay. Yeah, I wanted to comment about the inauguration of the new president as well. I think that I'm hopeful that we have an opportunity now to focus on the business of the people, unify, and attempt to start moving forward. These have been four, I guess, very contentious years. Whether or not you take a stand on one view or another, boy, we really have to start pulling this country together and moving forward. And I'm just hopeful that we, irrespective of whether you're a progressive or a conservative or a middle of the road person, will focus on the best interest of this nation. And I pray that our new president will be given the wisdom to be able, as Solomon did, to make the correct decisions about how we're going to make life better for ourselves and future generations. So I just am prayerful that we can become America again, make America great again. And
Again.
we really need to do that. And I just really pray that we can pull that together.
Okay, Roger, you had your hand up?
On Tuesday, we had a wonderful presentation at Rotary. It was last Tuesday, actually. Ellie Yanchar, who graduated from Roosevelt High School, is a doctor. She's both a psychologist and a family doctor. She's in New York City. She was on the front lines during COVID, but right now what she's doing is she's serving the homeless. And as you might imagine, after her conversation, she stayed to the after meeting. A lot of people in our community are beginning to get concerned, not because we have homeless as much as concerned about how might we begin to take a little more proactive approach to it. And I think Mr. Turner made some comments on Facebook where, homelessness, a lot of people don't understand homelessness. Some people it's a choice, a life choice. Some people it's they just don't know what to do. But I think that over the course of the next year, I think that we have enough people in the community that maybe we can get some support for, both the Miller House and for the other organizations to really take a look at that. The city of Kent, we always brag about, there are a lot of people who have just talked about how wonderful it is about what happened in DC. Well, we don't live in DC, we live in Kent, Ohio. So the question is what can we all do to, if nothing else, raise the awareness, if nothing else, to try to figure out, what can we do to help those people that are under the bridge, those people who for whatever reason are homeless. So I just bring that up. I don't think we need to put it in committee, but I think you're going to hear more about it because a lot of people in Rotary, we had about 70, I think. And if you want to look at the YouTube and watch it, it was really something. People became very, very passionate about what could they do. And, the answer may be, we don't know. So maybe we need to think about how to ask those questions. And I just bring it to the forefront because you might hear from other people about it.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kuhar.
Yes, yes, we have a new president. Naturally, he wouldn't have been my first choice, but I think he's a good man. Hopefully he'll be a good president. But I also want to thank our last president because of his accomplishments. It's obvious he has a colorful personality, which I didn't always agree with. But I do look at all the accomplishments, and whether you be white or black or gay or whatever, he did something for you. And why his
Can you list some of those, please?
Why his personality was the way it was, I don't know. But I will respect the office of whoever we have in that office as an American. And so I will respect our new choice of president, and hopefully we will continue the good works and be a better nation at the end of the 4 years.
Okay, anybody else? Tracy, did you have something?
Yeah, mine was just like, it wasn't as deep as these other ones. I was just going to say that I went over to see Gwen at Popped yesterday, and it was really nice to see somebody in person. That's all. After I found out where her new store was, actually.
Yeah, I hear you. Jack?
Yeah, I just want to do a shout out for our health department. I have to tell you, serving on that board, I am so in awe of Joan Seidel and that staff. Guys, they're being slammed right now, as you can imagine. And they are the utmost of professionals. I sit on a board with an epidemiologist professor, 2 registered nurses, a pharmacist, and a health sociologist. And then that's where the expertise ends, because I'm the other one on that.
Jack. Don't cut yourself short, Jack.
You represent the public.
Yeah, but I have to tell you, I am just in awe of them, and we should be very proud of that health department. So.
Okay, thank you. Gwen, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I did. Well, it was nice to see you too, Tracy. So I'll start with that. I want to extend my most heartfelt gratitude to our Kent police officers who were injured in the line of duty this week. Words can't even express the gratitude of our Kent police risking their lives to save residents, especially in this situation where we're dealing with children. So my absolute heartfelt gratitude and thanks. I wish the officers a speedy recovery. I also want to thank our dispatch. That had to be the ultimate test of all of your training and everything that you've worked for and trained towards, to handle those calls. And also our Kent Fire Department. I understand that it was during a shift change, and so a lot of the fire department showed up. So that was a huge coordinated effort. I'm so pleased with the outcome was that everybody survived, and we'll make hopefully a completely full recovery. So thank you very, very much to our first responders. Thank you.
Okay, is there anybody else? All right, mayor's comments. Just one thing, at 5 o'clock tonight, and I think they'll air this again on the public broadcasting system, but they had Under Fire strike breakers in Kent, Ohio. It was a show. Some of you aren't as old as I am, but it used to be Black & Decker, then Lamb Electric, then Amatec. In 1935, they went out on strike, and they brought all these strike breakers in. It was really a good show. And if you want to see a little bit of history of Kent in the industrial era, you ought to see it. But I'm sure it'll be aired again. And like I said, it was on the public broadcasting system, but it was an hour show. And I heard people talk about this as a kid, but I'm not quite that old, being in 35. But it was a good show. And if you ever have the opportunity, you guys got to see it. Is there anything? Go ahead.
I saw that. That was incredible. I had no idea. Aaron and I watched it. We were completely fascinated.
Blown away.
Yeah.
But like I said, as a kid, I heard people talking about it, but I really never seen it. So it was a good show. So if you see it aired, watch it. You got to see it. Is there anything else to come before us tonight? If not, Mr. Kuhar.
Since you brought that up, if anybody would think that big business or big government couldn't get to do nasty things, back in the 70s, you should have been around for the truck strike and the strike. Very interesting.
True. All right. Nothing else? Good evening. We're adjourned. Thank you.
Happy